Hello, everyone. It's July 21st, 2021. Haraway's Women here. Um, I seem to have gotten some encouragement from my guides that they are wanting me to talk about a particular subject. And one of the ways that I know that it is them and what they want is because they will literally, I'll be doing something and they will just completely override it, and they will start bringing back things that I've been through and go, you need to talk about that, you need to talk about that, this is time that you need to talk about it. People need to know about it, because if they don't know about it, they're going to become victim to it. And it's like, yeah, but also the downside to that is that when I talk about that, when I do revelations, that is going to benefit people so much, I come under fire. I have things done to my pets, to my property, to my life, to my vehicles, to everything, because people improve, people get better, people get healthier, people don't die, people get smarter, people get yeah, they do better in life. Only thing is that it doesn't really come back to me because I don't make a dime off of any of it. Nobody wanted to make donations, but anyway, let's talk about when they flip the switch. Why I don't watch zombie movies. I will not watch those god awful things because I know what's coming. I know what's fixing to happen. When they flip that switch, and those who have not become aware, have accepted the fact that we are all implanted, and anymore you don't have to be implanted in order for them to be able to mind control you, to put thoughts into you. And how do you know what are your thoughts to what are their thoughts, and to what is actually your higher self or your God thoughts, to those who will set themselves up as gods? God will never tell you to kill yourself. God will never tell you to harm yourself. God will never tell you to harm somebody else. If it is not that lifting you up and not lifting up others, that's not God. That's not the what we call the angels, the pure souls, the righteous, the saints of God. Those, I actually prefer just pure souls, because pure souls are the kind of people that they understand why everything is created, and that everything that's created does have a soul. That we can interact even with ants. We can interact with what is thought to be inanimate objects. They're not. Anything that's created has a soul. It's like them putting down tree huggers. I learned that anything that politicians, government, military will, if they're mocking it, then that's a flag telling you that they don't want you seeking any to know what that's about. Because if you did, then you're going to find out the truth. And they can't have you knowing that kind of truth. So why is it that they sat there and started mocking tree huggers? Well, I researched that and found out that trees, that when you connect yourself to them, which is merely either leaning up against them, hugging them, sitting in them, leaning on them, they can literally ease your pain and even take your illness from your body. And I tested that one day. I was in a lot of pain, a lot of pain. And there was a tree that I'd been caring for, and it sat like this. At this one place I lived, this townhouse, I took care of the trees there. And I went and I got up into this one, and I wrapped my arm around one of the thick branches of my head because I was in a lot of pain. And within 45 minutes, I felt that pain ease. Really. It's true. It's true. Now I understand why even more that they hate trees. Why they want to, hey, cut them down. They don't feel nothing. Break the branches off, You're not supposed to do any cutting on a tree until wintertime, when its life force has gone down into the roots. Then you cut. If you have to make any cuts on it, I like using wood glue. Or if you got a spray glue, or I'm not that big on paints, but if you got something to seal, because that energy's flowing out of it. And I'll share this with you. There's one day that, to my horror, these 3 trees that were down at the entrance into the townhomes, right by the mailboxes, and I had trimmed those up. I had them doing so well. They were beautiful, beautiful. You could walk underneath them. You didn't have any branches that were at eye level or where they could hurt kids or anything. There was no need to touch these trees, and they came in right in the heart of spring and summertime, and they cut these big branches. And I ran up to them, and I thought I needed to put my hands on these 2 to try to stop, see if I could put a energy block so that energy isn't flowing out. And I'm telling you, and this is the honest God truth, because I had no idea this could happen. I put my hands over those, and I'm telling you, they were branches that were like this big. So here's the wounds, and I put my hand up over it, and all of a sudden, I'm feeling wood energy coming in, and it's traveling up my arms, and it gets to my elbows, and I can literally feel what it's like to be wood. And it scares me because I don't know what this is going to do to my body. But I tell you, I wish that I had allowed it to go through my body. I wish that I've tried to, anytime that I've seen somebody who's just cut branches off, I've tried to see if I can make that happen again, because what I have seen in my hands and my arms since then has been very beneficial. I will never forget that. What it feels like to be wood. How we can really connect. That's soul energy to soul energy. Anyway, I want to talk about these implants. Oh, and the reason why tinfoil hats, yeah, they do work. Foil, everything you got around us, everything is electromagnetic energy. What they hit you with is electromagnetic energy. You put aluminum inside your caps and your hats, and all of a sudden your thoughts are yours. Or if you sit there and just take, I would say, get thick aluminum foil and just make you a hat, and all of a sudden everything's real quiet. Because when I seen that mockery about, yeah, wearing tin foil, and I got to thinking, I used to be an industrial electrician. Electromagnetic energy, there are elements that neutralize that, and one of them is aluminum. You try it. Get a magnet, see if you can pick up any aluminum can or anything that's aluminum. Nope. It's like kryptonite Superman. So with this all being electromagnetic energy, and you know how you walk into a room, you're going after something, you get into that room, and you can't remember what the heck you're in there for. So you step back into the other room and go, oh yeah, well, hang on to it, because when you step in there, there's energy flowing through there that you can't see that they're flowing through. Probably these are smart meters, all these that are going to each other. If you're in that line of fire, not only will you lose your train of thought, but also there's a nausea that is unlike any nausea you have ever experienced. And it is a kind that you're immediately taken down. You can't do nothing else. You can't. I've experienced it. I've worked through nausea. I've worked where I've thrown up and kept going. But not that. Not that nausea. You are out. And I know that it always makes me think about this one student that had to drop out of college because she was hit with it so much it disabled her. Well, she knew how to use magnets to knock out her implants or where to get away from things, because I tell you, is it Matt Damien? I think it's The Happening, where all of a sudden now this is the reason why I don't watch zombie movies. They snuck it in on this one. And all these people, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, were taking chainsaws to themselves and running in traffic or in front of trains or walking into line or bear cages, and are slamming into each other or lighting themselves on fire, and he's grabbing his kids and he's trying to get away from it. And they're finding out in the cities that this is happening. People are doing this. And it's happening everywhere. And it's like, well, it's in the airways, it's in the air, and it's something that's in the air. And when it reaches these territories, these people are just offing themselves everywhere. And they're trying to outrun it. 5G technology. What's going to be 6 and 7G? Is it going to be true that by 2027 that there's not going to be any humans left? These implants and these satellites and the NextRad and all these direct energy weapons, all this, flip a switch, bam. Either we're killing ourselves or we're killing each other, or they're just killing us. We kill ourselves. If you don't know what's going on, you're not going to be able to stop when they are hitting you. Because there's a lot of people committing suicide because that's the program that they're running, among all the other ones that they're running. Like they really do loathe women, and they got our men to become predators, to become monsters. Make them think that, well, it's a man's world and needs to be a man's world, and And yeah, they're very good at upsetting the natural flow. If it's thoughts that is making subspecies out of humans, that's not human thinking. That's not humans. That's not natural. But you need to find out where your implants are. And you need to protect yourself from this. Yeah, viruses of thought viruses. You got to protect yourself. You got aluminum siding on your home, it's worth its weight in gold right now. You can get lead or lead based paint, that's worth its weight in gold too. You can get lead glass, you can have a lead house. You could have a lead house. Will have the safest home in the world. I got a feeling that they are fixing to flip that switch. I sat there. I was watching videos on people who are video recording the streets like Kensington and LA and these other places where drug usage is so bad. And this guy goes, I seen this kid. He's overdosing. I called an ambulance. And he said, within a few minutes, he said, I heard an ambulance coming. And he said, then it stopped. And he said, well, I thought maybe they had not got the location right. So he said, I seen him a couple blocks up. So he says, I started running. He says, and I saw, all of a sudden, I seen this body over there on the sidewalk. Now, so the street, that person's overdosing. And then he sees another person overdosing. And he gets up there where the ambulance is, and they're working on a person that's overdosing. So there's four bodies in 2 blocks. These people are dying. Do you think that they have decided that they have figured out an answer to how to deal with the drug addiction, the homelessness, people throwing trash everywhere, crapping on the sidewalks, pissing on the sidewalks? Do you think they came up with a solution on how to deal with the problem? And you know what the solution was to deal with the no more pipelines. We don't want any more of your pipelines because of the environmental damage the oil and gas pipe has caused. Remember that? No DAPL. Do you all know what the response was? How pissed off that made them? I can tell you. Because one of the things that I'm very good at, that I know to watch, is when something happens, watch what follows. Because it will tell you, you will know exactly what's going on and what's going to happen. What followed no DAPL? Come January 1st, 2017, the pain clinics throughout the United States, and then we found out went worldwide, they dumped all their pain patients and they shut off you getting pain medication. You're going to cost them money, because remember, these oil and gas barons, they have big stocks, or they own the pharmaceutical companies. Remember that. You got to remember who owns what. And if you aren't going to do what they want to do, well, they know how to make it hard on you. And look what they did, too. And so if they could sit there and shut down your access to pain medicine, if they can shut down your access to proper medical care, it just isn't pain medicine, proper medical care. And remember, it's these doctors that are putting implants into people. I've got them in me. I've got one right now that's in my abdomen that is a little bit right at that size. Right at that size. Size of the golf ball. It's right here. It's why my stomach is so distended. It's because this thing was in my intestines, and now my body has pulled it outside through the abdominal wall. And I'm sitting there been trying to get something done about this, because this was done January 12th of 2008, Altus Hospital in Altus, Oklahoma. I was in there January 10th. I went in at lunchtime. Doctor admitted me. Supposedly we're going to do some testing on my kidney. My kidney wasn't doing so well at that time. And nothing was done that Wednesday, nothing done Thursday, and then come Friday morning on the 12th, about 7:30, I wake up and I see a nurse injecting my IV line. What is that for? Oh, you're having a special procedure today. Well, what kind of special procedure? Well, I don't know. I have to go look. Well, yeah, go find out. A little bit. They come take the vet. Me. Well, that's kind of unusual. This is really unusual. And that chemical is hitting my body. And they take me downstairs. And I see people that are waiting to go in to surgery. And I look at this nurse and I tell the nurse, I don't want to have the surgery. And she goes, You don't want the surgery? And I'm out. And I wake up and I have been laid open from sternum to bikini line. And that bastard, Dr. John Glasgow, put a device in me the size of a golf ball in the transverse colon right before the splenic flexure is. The splenic means spleen, and your spleen sits right below your heart. And the flexure is that where it goes this way. That's a flexure in the colon. You got the hepatic flexure where you got the ascending colon, comes up to the liver, hepatic is liver, and then it goes into the transverse colon, goes across from right side to left side. It's just a flexure. That's all it means, just a looping. Right there, that sucker is, and it's in there. It feels like it's bolted in there. Because everything I do to try to dislodge that, I can't do it. And oh God, talk about a sickening feeling. Because I really have tried to dislodge that thing. And I've seen it on a colonoscopy and it'll knock me out. But there's no denying it on a CT scan, and I've got pictures of it. If you just go to Higher Ways, go facebook.com/Higher Ways woman, look at my photographs, and you'll see it. You'll see it. This thing, when I got home, I want to tell you, there was no pain management. This thing, I had read about abdominal seizures, and I thought, I hold a couple records in medicine, and I thought, that doesn't make any sense. That medically, that makes absolutely no sense. So does some of these other different types of seizures. But that one absolutely doesn't make any sense. And people are talking they are getting diagnosed with it. Well, after I had that implant put in me, when I would be on the phone talking to malpractice attorneys, all of a sudden, my abdomen, I was being electrocuted. If I was looking up on the internet malpractice, I would be electrocuted. And then, even when I thought it, are you kidding me? Just thinking about it, they know that, and they electrocute me. And they have blacked me out, put me in a pain blackout several times. What did I do? Well, what did I do? Watch this. Hang on. Hang on. That is a neodymium magnet. It is one of the strongest magnets you can get. And it's also it's something that they are so powerful. They are such a powerful magnet, but at the same time they're very brittle. I have two of those that I bought, and this one friend was handling them for the first time, and yeah, shattered one of them. And they're so that size, which is the size of a quarter. When those two, you get two of them together, you just about can't get them apart. And so I took it along with some crystals and I taped it over that device. And I kept it on there for over a day. And then I needed a break, but I kept magnets as long as I thought that I needed to. And I took it out. They weren't able to shock me anymore, but my body knows that it doesn't belong there, so my body's been attacking it. And it will cause an autoimmune problem. So if you got an autoimmune problem, it means, and this is something they know, one of the things that implants causes is multiple tumors. And that's why that people like me that went into surgery and was not a smoker, that when I came out of surgery and I was recovering, that I was in nicotine withdrawals. And there was no doubt what the withdrawals was. And every doctor that I asked, I said, why is it that when I went into that surgery, I was not a smoker. But when I came out, I can't deny it. I can't. I've tried. I've tried and tried and tried to deny it. Boy, they don't want to talk to me. They won't talk to you about it either. But I'll tell you why. It took me years. But I finally figured it out because I was determined I'm going to find out why. And I should sue over the damage to my lungs because I was finally able to defeat it. Finally able to. But it took a long, long time. About 15 years. The reason why that they give you that, because I'm not the only one, is that for tumors to grow, they have to have a rich blood source. Well, smoking constricts your blood vessels, so it makes it not so available. They don't grow as fast. And so, actually, if you want to slow down your tumors, your growth of your tumors, smoking is one of the ways that you'll do it. But it's like the implants and everything else, you're trading one problem for another problem. Because since I stopped smoking, the tumors are popping up everywhere. And the only way to stop them is to get these daggum implants out of us. And so I have told people that since they are demanding a UA at every doctor appointment, then I need to have that detector, that handheld device that the FBI, the governments, that they use. And when you come in, that you are scanned. Because when they get that device out of you, you're going to have a whole lot of problems suddenly go away, especially pain. And I'm going to stop with this. This is as far as I want to go, as far as I dare to go, because I know this is for educational purposes. I am telling you what they did to me. I had to have a tumor removed that was in front of my pituitary gland. And all of a sudden, not long followed, I had a tumor come up here. And my eardrum is bulging out. And it will go from bulging out to pulling in. This thing getting bigger and bigger and hitting on these nerves. I'd end up in the emergency room in so much pain. I'd have the MRIs. You could see the tumor. And my doctorate was in radiology. And I'd have doctors sit there and tell me, nope, they don't see nothing. This thing you can feel, don't feel nothing. Nope, don't feel nothing. Don't see nothing. I would go to Mayo Clinic and Harvard medical websites and print out pictures of tumors in that exact area, go to these ear, nose, and throats, into these neurosurgeons, etc., and I would superimpose my MRIs over Mayo and Harvard's MRIs of the same exact anatomy, and it perfectly imposed over. Perfectly. And they still denied it. Why? Because it's an implant. There's an implant in there. That's why that this one young man that said, when your loved ones go into surgery, they're not the same ones that when they come back out. That's a lot of wisdom. That's a lot of wisdom there. Yeah. And so, as I'm reading these stories, people talk about how cruel the doctors are to them. Well, that is probably one of the doctors that's doing implants that are, because remember also when Satanism became acknowledged as a religion, now you cannot be prejudiced. And believe me, that is one religion that you should have an absolute right to be prejudiced against. And I don't care what anybody says, Satanism is not humanity friendly. If it was humanely friendly, then why are they blood sacrificing? Why are they taking the lives of anything? If it is such a good religion. So now you know that procedure exam rooms are now torture chambers and surgical tables are now sacrificial altars. Neutralize those implants. You better get ready because they're going to flip that switch. And you're going to see a whole lot of craziness. You're going to see a whole lot of craziness. And it may be you right in with them. Get those implants. That's why that the Bible, there's a area it talks about if your eye offends you, pluck it out. If your hand offends you, or your foot offends you, or that whatever. It's talking about, let's put this in truthful terms. If you got an implant there, it's better to remove where that implant is at than to live with it in you. Yeah. Go to Higher Ways Woman. Facebook.com/Higher Ways Woman. Bring the photos up and you'll see it. You'll see the CT scan. You'll see it. That's why that I'm not allowed to go to any doctors. I'm not allowed to see any specialists. I got part of my intestines sitting between my abdominal muscles and my skin because they don't want to have to admit or deal or acknowledge. Yeah, that's American medicine. That's what medicine is. That's what it's become. And too many people have decided that it will never affect them. And I was involved in pain advocacy, very heavily into it from the 80s. And getting up to the year 2000, I was wore out. People going, hey, it never happened to us. It'll never reach us. Okay, fine. Even though that my work did open the doors and people did get good pain management for a while, up till 2017. And like I said, I'm not going to force it. I was burned out. I was sick and tired of hearing it won't happen to me. It won't happen to me. Okay, fine. It won't happen to you. Yeah, well, we'll just let it happen to you and see if it's you decide it's worth your time and your effort, your work. See if it's worth it now to you. Because actually, me making this video, I said I was going to stop doing this stuff because they come after me. They already look at the satanic mechanic Sam Johnson. You think I'm kidding about that they come after me, that they try to kill me? Go look at that video. Go look at that video. Bastards. Anyway, I better stop because I'm going to say some things that YouTube will probably tell me that that's not allowed. So you better get after those implants. And you can buy things over the counter that will detect them. Okay? Good luck to y'all. Take care.